They say the earth remembers. It holds the whispers of the long dead, the secrets of forgotten sorrows. But some memories are not merely whispers. They are a relentless, rhythmic tread. This is the tale of Elara, the witch of Blackwood Fen. They buried her upside down, a desperate act of fear and superstition. Her head pointed to the underworld, her feet towards the sky. It was meant to sever her connection to the living world, to prevent her dark magic from ever touching the soil again, a final, brutal silencing. Yet the silence never truly came. Her footsteps still echo. Elara was not merely accused, she was condemned. Her eyes, they claimed, held the glint of ancient malice. Her touch withered crops, her words twisted minds. The villager spoke of shadows that danced at her command, of livestock found drained of blood, their eyes wide with terror. A blight followed her presence. They feared her power, a force they could neither comprehend nor control. It was a primal, suffocating dread that gripped the heart of the valley. Her cottage, nestled deep within the gnarled woods, became a place of dread, a place where the very air seemed to thicken with unseen energies. When the fever swept through the children, claiming them one by one, their fear curdled into a vengeful fury. Elara was their scapegoat, their curse made flesh. They dragged her from her home, her protests swallowed by the Bay Knob. Her pleas were dismissed as further proof of her wicked deceit. The old texts spoke of a specific ritual for the truly damned. To bury a witch upside down was to trap her spirit, to invert her power. It was a desperate gamble, born of terror and ignorance. They believed it would bind her soul, preventing her return. The burial was a grim spectacle. The ground was hard, the air thick with unspoken dread. Each shovelful of earth was a prayer for deliverance. They piled stones upon her grave, a cairn of fear and defiance, a monument to their victory, or so they hoped. For a time, a fragile peace settled over the valley. The fever receded. The crops seemed to flourish once more, a collective sigh of relief. But then, the whispers began. Faint at first, like the rustle of dry leaves, then clearer, more distinct. A rhythmic thud, thud, thud. It was the sound of footsteps. They were heard on moonless nights when the mist clung to the trees, a phantom march across the fields, through the village lanes. Always heading towards the old fen, towards the place where Elara's cottage once stood, a relentless, unhurried pace. The sound was not heavy, like a living person's stride. It was light, almost ethereal, yet undeniably present, a chilling resonance. It carried a profound sense of purpose, of an unfinished journey, a journey that had been interrupted but not abandoned. The villagers would bar their doors, extinguish their lamps. They would huddle in silence, listening to the spectral procession pass by. Some claimed to feel a cold draft as the echoes drew near. Others swore they could smell the faint scent of damp earth and withered herbs. It was a haunting reminder of their deed, a constant, unsettling presence that refused to be silenced. The footsteps never deviated. They followed the same path night after night, year after year, a spectral trail etched into the very fabric of the land. It passed through walls, across rivers, over the graves of those who had condemned her. Nothing seemed to impede their progress. Children born long after Elara's death learned to recognize the sound. It became a part of their folklore, a lullaby of dread. Some brave or foolish souls tried to follow the sound. They ventured into the darkness, lanterns flickering, hearts pounding. But the echoes always seemed to recede, to dance just beyond reach, a cruel, mocking game played by an unseen entity. Those who pursued them too far often returned changed. Their eyes held a distant, haunted look. Their minds seemed to wander. They spoke of fleeting shadows, of whispers that promised dark knowledge, of a cold touch that lingered on their skin. The footsteps were not merely sound, they were a manifestation, a ripple in the veil between worlds, caused by a spirit denied its rest. They were Alara's defiance, her silent scream against her unjust fate, a testament to a power that even death could not fully contain. The upside-down burial had not trapped her, it had merely inverted her journey. Her spirit was not bound to the earth, but to the air above it. Her feet, pointing skyward, were still walking a path unseen, unheard by the living, save for the chilling echoes. The village never truly recovered its peace. The footsteps were a constant reminder of their collective sin, a perpetual penance. Generations passed, but the fear remained. It was woven into the very fabric of their lives, a dark thread in their tapestry. They tried to forget, to dismiss it as mere legend, but the echoes would always return, a chilling affirmation of the truth. Some theorized that the upside-down burial had not trapped her spirit, but rather had inverted its purpose. Her malice now flowed upwards. Perhaps the footsteps were not a journey, but a search for something lost or something to reclaim. Or perhaps they were a warning, a promise of a return when the time was right, when the veil thinned enough for her to fully cross. The old ones would tell tales of the witch's power, of her vengeful spirit. They would warn the young to never stray too far from the path. For the footsteps were not just a sound, they were a presence, a cold, calculating intelligence that still lingered. They buried the witch upside down, hoping to bury her power, but they only succeeded in turning her gaze towards a different horizon. And her footsteps still echo, a chilling reminder that some paths once set can never truly be unwalked.